33. Where the shooting happened at?
What's that?
You know where the shooting happened at?
Right over there. And all over here.
Oh, damn. Oh, it's Saturday night? Oh, man. You have a good one.
ready to find out the full date.
CBS 13's Rachel Wolf is continuing our team coverage, taking the pulse of downtown right now, where it all happened. Rachel, what can you tell us there?
Well, there's a certain amount of cleanup and coordination. Cleanup because there were so many bullets that shattered glass, and then coordination of bringing businesses back online that were shuttered all day yesterday, and many people couldn't even get to their businesses to see if they were impacted. We're by Sharif Jewelers, and if you look right there, that's the front door. There's a bunch of broken glass, and then more broken glass on the inside. And then if you come to the front here, right along K Street, there is a makeshift memorial that is starting to grow, and there's a number of people that are coming over saying prayers. One man just came over and was overcome with grief and emotion. People coming down to see it for themselves, people who couldn't get down here because this entire area was cordoned off yesterday. Investigators had closed off the area all day and into the night as investigators collected more than 100 pieces of evidence. The chief of police in Sacramento PD says authorities will look at crime cameras in the area and also social media footage. Police say multiple shooters are responsible for that mass shooting. We do know that one man, as of just in the last 10 minutes, is behind bars. But again, they said multiple. Today, Monday morning, you saw many people dropping off flowers and candles at several makeshift memorials, frustrated something so senseless would occur. We spoke with a woman who works with the California Medical Association close to the crime scene, and her management sent out an email telling them it was okay to return to work. She says it's been a rough few years.
With all the protesting, like every other week, our building, they would board up the windows and the doors and even the garage, or there was protesters, so we couldn't even get in logistically. That's what they called a logistics email. We couldn't get in or we couldn't get out. We're stuck in the building. So I appreciate, on Sunday, sending this email, yeah, it's okay to come to work tomorrow. The building said it's going to be okay.
So we've been down here throughout the past couple of years. We know we've seen the pandemic. We've seen the protests that have occurred. We know there's been damage to Sharif Jewelers. This isn't the first time that he's had to clean up after something that's occurred outside of his place of business. Now, the Downtown Sacramento Partnership, they're so troubled by this. Not only is there a human element of tragedy, but also the economic downturn. Just when businesses were starting to come back, just when there was some momentum that was going in the last couple of months of people returning post-pandemic, something like this happens. He talked about some things that are being put into play that were in the works before this happened. We're going to be talking about that coming up today at 4, 5, and 6. What those are going to be in order to help people feel safe and return back to work here on the long term.
Rachel, you mentioned the cleanup. Just to give you an idea of what kind of event took place there. This latest release from the police saying that officers recovered more than 100 spent shell casings there.
Wow.
At that
100 shell casings.
More
Wow.
than 100, it said. Rachel, thank you.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Madison Wade.
And I'm Chris Thomas. Sacramento is mourning the tragedy that claimed the lives of 6 people and sent 12 other people to the hospital.
We now know the names of all of the victims who died. They are Yamil Martinez Andrada, Melinda Davis, Devasier Turner, Sergio Harris, Joshua Hoy, Lucchese, and John Tea Alexander.
One man has been arrested in connection to the shooting, 26-year-old DeAndre Martin. Police say they are also still searching for other suspects.
We have team coverage tonight following this story and bringing you the latest updates.
Less than 48 hours after the shooting that left 6 dead and 12 injured, Sacramento police have arrested a man.
26-year-old DeAndre Martin. He was arrested for being involved in the shooting as well as being a prohibited person in possession of a firearm.
While investigators continue to dig into Martin's involvement in the shooting, ABC 10 found he also has an outstanding warrant for charges in Riverside County relating to domestic violence. His arrest today is just one of the first steps taken in an investigation that's far from over.
We are searching for multiple suspects, and that is our priority.
While searching 3 homes in the area, police also recovered a handgun. It's the second gun they found after also finding a stolen handgun at the scene.
We have recovered over 100 shell casings from the area, and of those shell casings, we know that we have at least 2 different calibers of ammunition that were used.
Police have called this a complex investigation multiple times and asked the public for help, including videos of the incident.
Over 100, actually, that have been submitted by the public.
Something former Sacramento Sheriff John McGinnis knows is essential in solving a complicated crime like this one.
If there's a video or a still shot that shows a car with a license plate on it,
as well as the crime scene itself.
My thoughts are along the lines of days, not hours, until the scene is adequately processed.
And we just got information that Martin had a number of criminal charges against him, including aggravated assault out of Arizona. Police are still looking into the motive for the shooting that occurred early Sunday morning. Of course, when we get more information, we'll keep you updated.
Andy, thank you again. This is rapidly developing. New information into our newsroom. Andy, thanks.
ABC 10's Giacomo Luca spent most of his day getting more information on exactly what happened downtown with this mass shooting. Giacomo, what are you learning?
Well, I can tell you that there are really tragic reminders, Chris, of all around us in downtown of just what has happened. Some, I want to warn you, are graphic, like the one we're going to show you just now. Bloodstains on the walls of the entrance to an apartment complex, likely from a person fleeing for their life. I spoke with so many today, still trying to come to terms with what's happened. From empty drink cups left behind as hundreds fled K Street to bullet marks, shattered glass, and crime tape, so many stark reminders of the terrifying Sunday in the heart of Sacramento's entertainment district.
And I was standing there and I just heard rapid gunfire.
Downtown resident Cheryl Keeves lives on the block where it all went down. She raced downstairs that night only to find a victim laying in her lobby.
It was a girl and a guy, you know, like trying to comfort him and tell him to keep breathing.
So many in Sacramento mourning today. Heartfelt messages left from businesses, others laying flowers and candles at a growing memorial.
I brought my 7-year-old grandson so that he can know the importance of life and death.
Those who knew and didn't know the lives taken.
We're all human. We're all in this together. Stop fighting one another and start uniting.
And I just wanted to come out to pray with the people and pray for Sacramento. And maybe we could try to put an end to this.
Now back out here live along K Street near the area where all of this happened. Behind me, over my shoulder, you can see folks are still turning out to a memorial, paying their respects for the lives lost and the so many victims who were injured in this tonight. Back to you.
So many folks have been impacted by this indeed. People are just traumatized, as you can see, recounting what happened. Giacomo Luca, we thank you, sir.
And right now, the community is gathering tonight at the location that this all happened to hold a vigil for those who were killed and injured in this shooting. Van 2 is joining us now from downtown. Van.
Well, Madison tragedy has a way of bringing people together, and in a few hours, community leaders and victims' families will gather here at Ali Youssefi Square at 7th and K Street by Downtown Commons. It is just about 3 blocks away from where the shooting took place that really has stunned and left the city heartbroken. In the nighttime hours before the shooting took place, this area was alive with excitement. A Tyler, the Creator concert at Golden One, and Ali and AJ concert over at the Crest, and revelers just really enjoying K Street bars and restaurants. But tonight, a more somber tone. The mayor and elected officials and city leaders all joining together to heal and call for action. Now, back here live, we'll tell you that it will start at 7:30 with speakers taking the mic at 8 o'clock, and we will be carrying it live on our digital platforms at abc10.com.
Van, thank you. We will have much more coming up tonight on Late News Tonight from that vigil. Thanks.
Probably something small, those stupid arguments, so they want to pull out guns and start shooting each other, not even think about the innocent people that is around.
Now at 5, tragedy striking the state capitol when a night out turns into a nightmare. Gunshots ringing out in Sacramento's entertainment district with deadly results. The shooting happened early Sunday morning, and police spent today combing through the streets searching for additional clues. Good evening. I'm Julie Hayner.
And I'm Christina Rendon. 6 people were killed, another dozen hurt, and we now know the names of those 6 people killed. The victims are between the ages of 21 and 57. John Taya Alexander, Melinda Davis, Sergio Harris, Joshua Hoy Lucchese, Yamil Martinez Andrade, and Devazia Turner. Sacramento police have arrested 1 man they believe has a connection to the attack. KTU's Emma Goss is live in downtown Sacramento tonight with more on what we know. Emma, what can you tell us?
Christina, earlier today, police arrested a related suspect, 26-year-old Dondre Martin. He's charged with assault and illegal possession of a firearm, but importantly, not with homicide. SWAT teams and detectives searched 3 homes in the area and recovered a firearm. A chaotic and violent scene broke out at 2 a.m. Sunday at 10th and K Street in downtown Sacramento. As concerts let out and bars closed, a crowd began fighting in the street. Then, gunfire erupted, killing 3 men and 3 women and injuring a dozen others. Police say they've recovered 100 shell casings from the scene. At least 3 buildings and 3 vehicles were damaged by gunfire. The shooting victims range in age from 57 to 21. John Taya Alexander, Sergio Harris, and his cousin Devazia Turner, Joshua Hoy Lucchese, Yamil Martinez Andrade, and Melinda Davis. A business owner along K Street says Davis was a familiar face in downtown and lived on the street near the shooting.
One of the homeless women that I know, I recognize her as she's going around. She's been here for a long time, and she just got caught in the crossfire, and it's unfortunate.
Give you an idea what it was like earlier.
Surveillance video from a nearby apartment building shows Cathedral Square, the site of Marcus Davison's vow renewal. Hours after the family celebration cleared out, people are seen running from bullets. One man, apparently struck, limps away.
There was lots of yelling and things like that.
Davison, originally from Oakland, was celebrating with his out-of-town guests at bars just feet from where the shooting happened. His party turned in 30 minutes before shots rang out.
It was unbelievable that it happened, but by the grace of God, we were lucky that some of the choices we made determined our outcome to be a little bit safe.
Memorials now line the streets of downtown Sacramento. At Capitol Books, the general manager set up candles and a message of healing in the window.
There were bodies outside this door. Yeah, I cleaned blood off the window this morning.
While most of the bookstore's staff took a mental health day off, she's taking comfort in the hugs and phone calls coming in from loyal customers.
Nothing's going to be quite the same. Yeah, but we're still here. We're going to continue to thrive as a community.
Martin is due to appear in court tomorrow. As mentioned, he's a related suspect, not charged directly in the shooting. Police are still pursuing suspects. Christina?
Magas live for us in downtown Sacramento tonight. Emma, thank you.
Right now,
on KPIX5 and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. An arrest in connection with the deadly mass shooting in the heart of California's capital city, who police have in custody, and the search still happening now.
I'm Ryan Yamamoto in downtown Sacramento, where we're learning new information about the 6 victims killed in gunfire. And this evening, we're hearing from the families whose lives are now changed forever.
I just want to make sure that the world know that he was loved.
No reason, there's no rhyme. It wasn't just my cousin who lost his life, but other people that lost their life.
California already has some of the toughest gun laws in the country. So is adding more the answer? The debate over how to prevent more violence.
And a new billboard calling out San Francisco's fentanyl crisis. The critics who say it will only hurt local businesses. Good evening, I'm Sarah Donchie.
I'm Alan Martin.
And I'm Ryan Yamamoto, heading up our coverage of the mass shooting live right here in downtown Sacramento. Sarah and Alan, I'm right here on the corner of 10th and K Streets. This is right in the downtown Sacramento core. And this is where 6 people were killed in the barrage of gunfire. That area is home to restaurants and businesses that are back open today. And earlier today, police finally cleared this crime scene. And this evening, police have the first break in their investigation. Police have arrested 26-year-old D'Andre Martin. Police are calling him a related suspect. It's not clear how he's connected to the shooting, but we do know he was booked on assault and illegal firearms charges. Sacramento's police chief says they are looking for multiple shooters. They are now looking at video from surveillance cameras in the downtown area, trying to piece together what exactly led up to this deadly shooting. Police responding to a chaotic scene on K Street early Sunday morning.
We got a lot of people running.
Someone shooting. I don't know if anyone's been hit.
Investigators spent hours combing the crime scene and found more than 100 shell casings. In the hail of those bullets, 3 cars, 3 buildings were struck by gunfire.
5 people down.
Temporary needed unit at 10th and L. Stop all traffic not to come northbound. We have a large crowd and a lot of CPR going on.
The investigation has already led to detectives serving search warrants at 3 nearby homes. At least 1 handgun was recovered. While a motive for the shooting has not been identified, police are also reviewing this video of a fight that broke out right before the gunfire. It's unclear if the 2 are connected. And this evening, we're learning more about the victims who lost their lives after that weekend night out. They are 38-year-old Sergio Harris, 29-year-old Devontae Turner, also the 2 youngest victims, 21-year-old Jontaya Alexander, friends called her JoJo, and 21-year-old Emil Martinez Andres, who was from the Central Valley. 57-year-old Melinda Davis was homeless, and 32-year-old Joshua Hoy was a father of 6. 12 others suffered gunshot wounds, and Sacramento police say their injuries range from minor to critical but stable. And we have team coverage on this horrific shooting. KPIX5's Kenny Choi is here with me in Sacramento with family members dealing with this horrible loss.
Ryan, family members of these victims are still coming to the scene today. Just moments ago, I spoke to Devontae Turner's mother, whose family members, they also came to pay their respects. They wanted to visit the growing memorial that is set up here now. Yesterday, this area that we're standing in was taped off. It was part of an active police investigation of this mass shooting. Now the streets are open up to the public and the memorials are growing. Devontae Turner's mother couldn't hold back tears.
You're taking lives away from families, from their children, dads. You know, you're hurting us because it's deserving.
Jackie Henderson stared in silence in front of lit candles for the 6 shooting victims. His cousin is no longer a part of his life.
Absolutely. That's my family. My flesh and blood.
38-year-old Sergio Harris was a father of 3 whose own father remained behind police tape for nearly the entire day on Sunday, hoping to see his son.
A whole bunch of shock. Yeah, your shock ain't gonna go away overnight, no.
He was a good cousin, he was a family man. That's who he was, and that's how he'll be remembered, and that's how he will remain.
It's just a sad situation that has to occur when people are just out enjoying themselves.
Vince Pearson is the founder of ACE for Attitude, Commitment, and Excellence, a local nonprofit introducing new experiences like cooking to young men of color, trying to steer them in the right direction before it's too late.
There's something positive you can do in life, young man, and not lead down a path that you feel you have to have a gun, why you need to have a gun and why you need to harm somebody else with a gun.
There's no reason, there's no rhyme. It wasn't just my cousin who lost his life, but other people who lost their life. And it's a senseless act of violence that there's no call for it. No call for it.
Also, just moments ago, I spoke to DeVazier Turner's father, who told me about his last meeting with his son before that shooting that happened early Sunday morning. The two met at a gym. They worked out for several hours before his son headed out to downtown Sacramento. Just an incredibly sad scene here right now. Just off in the distance, about a half block away, I could hear someone wailing at the scene where the memorial for some of these victims is growing. Ryan?
All right, thank you very much, Kenny. And let's give you some perspective. Where we are in downtown Sacramento, you heard those trains going by me. That shooting shaking up the heart of the city. It all happened at 10th and K Street, just 1 block away from the state capitol. It's also near the Golden One Center, where the Sacramento Kings faced the Golden State Warriors just last night. And today I caught up with Gerald Smith. He was driving through downtown on early Sunday morning. He just happened to be stopped at a red light when those shots started to ring out.
I was parked right here waiting for the light to change, and they started shooting, and people were diving in front of my truck. I couldn't leave, so I had to sit there, and next thing I know, I woke up the next morning, and there was a bullet hole in my truck.
I mean, what were you thinking at that time when this was all
trying to get out of there, just trying to get away.
Were you frightened?
No, not at all, because the job I used to do. I work for an armored car, so I'm used to bullets.
So when this happened, like, did everyone just start scattering?
Yeah,
what happened?
You saw everybody running around, jumping down, laying on the ground, and everything.
And you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. My truck's not, but I'm fine.
And as the next day, how do you feel about everything that's happened here?
I think that we should all have gun control.
And while he said he wasn't scared, he did tell me that places just aren't as safe as they used to be. Back here live, the community will be coming together to remember the victims tonight. That vigil will be held at 7th and K Streets, is scheduled to start at 7:30. And we'll be back here live at 5:30 with an emotional interview with the sister of one of the victims, and a look at a call for more investment in community programs to prevent this kind of violence. Back to you.
So many sad stories. Thank you, Ryan, for bringing us that coverage.
Police have said that multiple shooters were involved in an attack that left 6 people dead and 10 others wounded in the Californian state capital. Sacramento's Mayor Darrell Steinberg says more needs to be done to tackle a senseless epidemic of gun violence. Gareth Barlow reports.
Sacramento, California. America's latest mass shooting shattering lives as it shattered the night. In an area packed with restaurants and bars, rapid gunfire rang out in the early hours of Sunday morning.
Investigators are working to identify those responsible for this horrific act. We know that a large fight took place just prior to the shootings, and we have confirmed that there are multiple shooters. Investigators are currently interviewing numerous witnesses.
Videos on social media appear to show the altercation taking place moments before the shooting, which occurred 2 blocks away from the state capitol. As dawn broke over Sacramento on Sunday, so did the stories from witnesses and families of the victims.
I heard gunshots, and then after the gunshots, I heard people just start diving down on the ground and falling down, and the next thing I know, someone fell in front of my truck. I was trying to get out the way. And by the time they got up, I guess I got hit. My truck got hit.
It's not fair. It's not right. I just want to know something. That's all. I just want them to just tell me something. Tell our family something so we can do what we have to do to try to move on a little bit.
The mayor of Sacramento, Darrell Steinberg, said thoughts and prayers for those affected were appropriate, but not nearly enough. But with the police still searching for answers and the perpetrators, for the moment, thoughts and prayers are the only solace for heartbroken families. Gareth Barlow, BBC News.
At least 6 people are dead and 12 others hurt tonight after a shooting near California's state capitol. This happened early this morning in a busy area filled with bars and nightclubs.
And tonight, police are looking for clues as they search for the shooters. Reporter Cornell Barnard from our sister station KGO has an update from Sacramento.
A tragedy here in Sacramento. Police say 6 people are dead, all adults, 3 men, 3 women, all of them likely attending a nightclub here on the K Street Mall overnight when a fight began, then gunfire followed. And tonight, too many families are now searching for answers.
We were probably about 3 blocks away. We heard it and it was like bam, 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 bam. And we're like, oh man, that sounded crazy.
Gunfire echoing through Sacramento early Sunday, transforming a lively part of downtown into a horrific crime scene. Dozens of shell casings now litter the ground. Police say the mass shooting took place around 2 a.m. in the 1000 block of K Street near a strip of nightclubs and the Golden One Center.
We know that a large fight took place just prior to the shootings, and we have confirmed that there are multiple shooters.
A motive still unknown.
I have a child that's laying out there, and I want some answers.
Pamela Harris waited hours to hear the tragic news that her son Sergio Harris was one of those killed.
My son has a wife, he has children, all that, and all that's gone because somebody wanted to pull out a gun and just spray everybody up that's coming out the club. That's not right.
Frank Turner learned his 29-year-old son, Devazia, lost his life.
Tell these young men to stay out the streets, quit playing these games that are stunning their lives.
Mayor Darrell Steinberg calling for gun violence to end. He says more police on patrol likely could not have prevented the tragedy.
We don't know what happened, but if somebody drove by and in an instant unloaded a rapid-fire weapon, killing at least 6 people, injuring many more, I don't know how in that instance you can prevent that kind of a random tragedy.
Many are still looking for answers, like Stevante Clark. His brother, Stephon Clark, was killed by police in 2018. Another brother killed by gun violence.
Until we get together and stop this community violence, until we get together and stop killing each other, then there's no way we can expect police to quit killing us. You know, there's no way we could fight this system if we're still fighting each other.
We believe this tent is where police are now processing hundreds of pieces of evidence, including a stolen handgun found at the scene. Multiple suspects are still at large, and police are making a plea to the public for any video taken overnight, which could help lead to an arrest. But for now, the mayor of this city says it's a city with a broken heart.
Well, as investigators work to try to pinpoint the shooters in this latest incident, the city is doubling down on its efforts to try to keep downtown safe. An $8.1 million plan includes physical infrastructure.
It includes things like adding more lighting, more cameras, but as CBS 13's Shantae Passmore explains, it also looks at the root of gun violence.
In recent years, we've seen gun violence perpetuated by young people. Now, Sacramento City leaders and its partners are trying to reach at-risk kids before the streets reach for them.
Mayhem followed rapid gunfire Sunday in downtown Sacramento. It has Mervyn Brookins working overtime.
We go out and we try to de-escalate so there's no retaliation.
Brookins' team can also identify people involved in a beef. Brother-to-brother mentoring works with at-risk youth and men in Del Paso Heights. CBS 13 is learning shooting victim Sergio Harris came from this neighborhood.
Knew him well and know his family well, so we just trying to be a comfort to the family.
This outreach is nothing new. The question,
are gun violence prevention groups, are they effective?
Yes, these groups do help some, but you're still going to have, again, everything comes down to who is your influence.
Worldviews are shaped by one's immediate company. Aaron Cardoza knows this well.
I didn't go looking for trouble, but trouble came to me one day, and I ended up shooting somebody and going to prison.
He says 5 years ago, he decided he was done with the streets, thanks to an opportunity by Brookins. The offer, save your community by mentoring.
From that point on, it started changing me slowly but surely.
Now, Cardoza is president of the group. Together, they're trying to take back their streets for good.
Recently, the City Council voted to invest an additional $5.1 million into these types of youth programs.
Thank you. Police have now made an arrest in connection with the deadly mass shooting in Sacramento. Detectives and SWAT officers carried out search warrants at 3 residences this morning. Investigators say they have identified 26-year-old Dondre Martin as a related suspect. He was arrested and booked for assault and illegal firearm possession charges. Now, police say at least 1 handgun was also recovered during the execution of these search warrants. More arrests are also expected, and according to police, there was more than 1 shooter. 6 people were killed in this shooting early yesterday morning in the downtown area. 12 others were injured. 4 of them critically.
Hey, what happened? Hey, you guys, what happened? Hey, you guys, what happened? Oh, okay. Yeah, the shooting woke me up, but I wasn't sure if it was actual shooting. It was loud. It sounded like thunder. Well, it sounded like thunder, but then it just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, wait, is that even thunder or what is that? It's like da 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 da. And then it went off again. Da 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 da. And then you hear people running. Well, you don't hear people running, but it's screaming. So I'm like, people screaming over thunder? Oh, look at that, look at that.
No matter how loud the traffic gets on K Street, the noise can't drown out what everyone's talking about.
I think it's horrible. It's such a tragedy. It's really sad.
The shell casings are gone, but the gunfires still echo throughout downtown. Bullets once littered the intersection here, but now the only evidence of a mass shooting is the boarded up windows and a makeshift candle-lit memorial.
I brought a candle because I feel for those families that lost their loved one.
There is, however, a familiar sound. A sound of a better day.
If I had to choose anywhere to live at in the world, I'd rather live right here.
15 years. That's how long Michael Williams has played his tuba on these streets. And in those 15 years, he's never heard the city sound like this.
I couldn't tell you how they feel. I know how I feel, you know. I couldn't tell you exactly how everybody feels. I know they shook up.
A smiling face or maybe a friendly wave. That's what Michael normally plays for. But today he's playing for a different reason.
Hope I play the right song and everybody feel better. You know, but it's not gonna stop what happened, you know what I mean? Because you're gonna think about that. But that's why I'm out of playing. I play Glory, Glory, Hallelujah.
In a part of downtown divided by high-rises and homelessness, by dance clubs and abandoned buildings, Michael's audience is diverse. And as the news reporters and TV trucks crowd out his stage, Daniel says he'll play loud in hopes that his beloved city will start to heal. Just off 10th Street in downtown Sacramento, I'm John Bartel.
Lisa, this is still an active investigation. You see the police tape up behind me. I'm on 10th and J, but this police tape spans several blocks that way downtown, blocking off this place while police continue their investigation. Tonight, authorities have only identified one of the victims, and still there's no word yet on who may be responsible. 2 o'clock Sunday morning. At least 70 gunshots rang through the streets of downtown Sacramento. Dozens of people ran for cover. Sacramento police officers rushed to the scene.
Officers began to give medical aid, including CPR, to the victims that they found. And at the same time, worked to stabilize the scene and learn what they could about the crime.
What we know tonight, a large fight on the streets of 10th and K. Then the shooting. At least 18 people hit by gunfire, 6 of them dead. Sacramento police confirm investigators are searching for multiple shooters. A stolen handgun also recovered from the scene. There's no word on when and where the stolen gun was purchased.
I don't have that information.
In a press conference, Chief Kathy Lester, hoping a glimpse of the shooters was caught on surveillance or cell phone video.
We have video from our police camera at 10th and K Street that captured portions of the shooting. And we have received multiple videos and tips from members of the public.
The scene is very complex. Obviously, like I said, there's social media video out there. It's a very chaotic scene.
That's where someone like Paul Indo comes in, managing partner at Think Twice Legal. He helps lawyers make sense of video evidence. He is not involved with the K Street shooting, but says things he would look for include figuring out the camera's point of view and using the footage to identify additional video to help track down any suspects.
The cell phone video has audio. You can sort of tell from the sound of the audio how far the shots are or whether they're getting closer. You have to take that with a little grain of salt. Sometimes things might sound closer than they are just because the sound is bouncing off of concrete walls. There have been times where I've been asked, I can hear voices, but there's a lot of background noise. I can help take out or reduce down some of that background noise to make the voices stand out a little bit better. If the video footage if the action is happening very quickly, I can slow the video down.
Chief Lester says one thing that is clear. Law enforcement needs to continue working with community partners to focus resources and efforts where they will have the greatest impact in helping curb gun violence.
This strategy only strengthens our commitment to reducing violence in our community and finding meaningful and lasting solutions to the problem.
Well, this investigation is going to take time. Sacramento police say gathering the evidence and then piecing it all together is going to take them a couple of days. Law enforcement is asking anyone with video from the scene, whether it be before, during, or after the shooting, to send that over to Sacramento Police Department. We're now reporting live from downtown Sacramento tonight. Brittany Johnson, KCRA 3 News.
We are on top of breaking news, a major development in Sacramento. We just learned that there's an arrest in that deadly mass shooting in the capital city, in an incident that left 6 people dead and a dozen others wounded. Gina Silva is live there with these late-breaking details. Gina.
Well, Bob, we just received the information from Sacramento Police Department. We understand that investigators worked through the night. They served several search warrants and they made one arrest. The name of that person is D'Andre Martin. He was taken into custody and booked on charges of assault with a firearm, and he is being prohibited being a prohibited person in possession of a firearm. Of course, they are looking for multiple suspects. This is just the first arrest. We're here in downtown Sacramento, and this is what you're seeing throughout the city. Little makeshift memorials for all of the victims that were killed in Sunday's mass shooting. 6 people did not survive. This is, of course, a growing memorial for the victims, all of them, a total of 18. This morning, the coroner's office released the names of the people killed in this shooting. They are Jatanya Alexander, 21 years old, Melinda Davis, 57 years old, Yamil Martinez Andrade, 21, Sergio Harris, 38, Joshua Hoy Lucechi, 32, and Devasia Turner, 29.
I mean, it's tragic. I mean, people lost their lives.
A brawl at 2 in the morning turned deadly when at least 2 shooters opened fire on a large crowd in downtown Sacramento.
Is that 18 people were hit by gunfire. 6 have died. They were all adults. There were 3 men and 3 women.
12 victims are being treated for their injuries at nearby hospitals.
This is a real tragic moment here in Sacramento.
Community activist Barry Akias arrived at the scene at 10th and K Streets shortly after the shooting.
The morning was chaotic. As we got deeper into the morning, more family members coming and learning that unfortunately their family member didn't survive.
It's a tragedy many residents are struggling to comprehend.
So it was something irrelevant, probably something small, those stupid arguments, so they want to pull out guns and start shooting each other, not even think about the innocent people that is around.
It's sad, and I feel like something's got to be done about all these people with getting guns.
At the scene, police recovered a lot of evidence, including a gun that was used in the shooting.
Thoughts and prayers are not enough.
Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg expressed heartbreak and anger over the latest mass shooting, this time affecting his community.
It is beyond time to have a sane conversation about guns in America. We have a sickness. It's a sickness in our country. It's a sickness in our culture.
President Joe Biden issued a statement that says in part, "Today, America once again mourns for another community devastated by gun violence. We continue to call on Congress to act. Ban ghost guns, require background checks for all gun sales, ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines." The mayor of Sacramento couldn't agree more.
This sickness will be cured someday in this country, or we will destroy ourselves in this country.
The Sacramento Police Department SWAT team issued search warrants this morning, and they made one arrest. Again, that name is D'Andre Martin. He was taken into custody this morning, and police investigators are still looking for multiple shooters. Now, a local organization has issued a $10,000 reward for any information that will lead to the arrest of those other shooters. And coming up at 5, Bob, we're going to be talking to legislators who will express to us their anger over this shooting that happened on early Sunday morning, and also their plans to tackle the rise in gun violence. That'll be coming up tonight at 5 p.m.
All right. Few words there. It's just so very sad for those lives that were lost. Gina, thank you, and Gino for your reporting up there. We look forward to seeing your report at 5 o'clock.
Definitely very emotional, and you can see behind me there are still candles lit here at the corner of K and 10th Street, the final resting place for 6 victims. And at tonight's earlier vigil, it was really a time to gather and heal, and also to speak one's truth. A family member of one of those 6 victims seizing the moment to speak from his heart, urging the community and city leaders to listen.
And that, Father, we as a city, the city of Sacramento, will live as our name denotes, the city of Sacrament,
Wrapped in prayer again, a candlelight vigil as community members come together to process the trauma. In the audience, Jackie Hernandez couldn't stay silent in a cycle of rinse, wash, and repeat.
Speak your truth. This is a truth session.
Stepping up to the microphone.
The truth is this. My cousin Sergio Harris, my first cousin Sergio Harris, was gunned down. The last time we had a mass shooting, we did the same thing. Sat out here, held up our candles.
Among 6 lives cut short, his first cousin, Sergio Harris.
He was a father, he was a husband, he was a great man. And he had his life taken from him, shot in the back. Unacceptable.
He called out the mayor's call for mental health services, saying it's only a small part of the problem, calling for guns to be taken off the streets, youth empowerment, and strict penalties for crime.
They have to be held accountable for their actions the same way every last one of us have to be held accountable for our actions.
The mayor vowing to increase funding for youth programs.
And yes, there were adults that were killed, but we all know it's about moving upstream, because every child, every teenager, every young adult should have nothing but good and great choices.
The vigil organizer Barry Axius, co-founder of Voice of the Youth, says this was a session to be heard.
We've been struck by senseless acts of violence, and we are not going to normalize that senseless act of violence.
To envision a strong, safe city for all Sacramentans. And for Henderson, he says it isn't solely up to public officials.
The change has to be made. And if you want to know who's going to make the change, when you go home, look in the damn mirror.
Now, after the speaking portion of that vigil, Henderson and the mayor shared and embraced. The full vigil can be rewatched on ABC 10 social media. Meanwhile, I did speak to family members of victims who were in the audience, and they say that they really felt that Henderson spoke to how they were feeling. They say never again really is not a catchphrase, but a commitment to action.